Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Wayne, an alcoholic of 23 years who's been living sober for 6 years. In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 indicators that you might drink too much. Ready to get it? Let's go, guys. Number 1, and in no particular order, you start planning for that drink from the moment you wake up. Now, I remember in my drinking history, I would wake up at 04:45 every single morning because I was in the United States Army. I would start planning my drink from the moment I woke up, how to get the money, and what time I could actually have it. This ruminated in my mind all day long, and there was nothing driving my motivation except to go get drunk. If you can relate to any of these things that I put out in this video, drop your comments below. And if you find the content helpful, consider subscribing because it will keep this channel in the know and push it along the platform, as well as perhaps give you a little insight to your own behaviors. Number 2, you only go places that you can either get a drink or get drunk. Again, when I was drinking, I didn't go anywhere that there wasn't going to be alcohol. My friends would call. They would actually know after a period of time, they would have to get me drunk. But before that, I would say, hey man, is there any beer at this party? Am I allowed to drink? Can I bring my own? And if the answer was no, I simply didn't go, and it wasn't any interest to me, and I got drunk by myself. Number 3, when you do go out, do you make it a point to say, I'm only gonna have 2 or 3 drinks? Now, I did this on several occasions going out with my family, my son and my wife, and I would say, I'm only gonna have 2 drinks tonight, and then if I want to drink more, I can do it when I get home. I would order everything but a meal and just keep them drinks coming, and I was well past 3 by the time that dinner got done, and nobody was happy except for me because I was drunk, and I wouldn't remember anything until the next day anyway. If you go out and you say I'm going to have 2 or 3 drinks and that never happens, you might drink too much. Number 4, you prioritize drink over food. Now this is a big one because a lot of us do this in our insanity and our alcoholism and or addiction. We prioritize the drink over food. I would never, ever consider going grocery shopping because that was $60 to $80 that I could spend on alcohol, and that just wasn't going to happen. For me, I did that all the time. I never ate, and if I did, it was just enough calories to get me through the day. And a lot of you out there do the same thing, and the drink is the rest of it, because if I eat too much, I'm going to get drunk, and if I buy food, I might not have enough of the alcohol that I need in order to get where I want to go. Sound familiar? If it does, you might drink too much. Number 5, you hide your alcohol everywhere. Now, I used to hide my alcohol in places that I thought that I was slick and that nobody was going to look. I used to hide it in my wall locker when I was in the Army, and it would be stacked top to bottom, knowing that if I put a lock on it, they weren't allowed to go in there unless I said so. Now, that may be a bit facetious because if my platoon sergeant never said, hey, open that wall locker, I would have to open it up and face the consequences. But as an alcoholic and a person who drank too much, I really didn't care, and I didn't think it all the way through that much, and that's just what I did. I hid it in backpacks, I hid it under my bed, I hid it outside in my car, if I had a car at the time, because I don't know, I drank 2 or 3 cars in my time. And if you hide your alcohol in places outside or in inconspicuous spots that you think that your significant other is not going to look, you might drink too much. Number 6, even when you have not a dime to your name, you are going to find money to get drunk. Now, this is where my alcoholism took a turn for the worse, is that I started borrowing from friends, and I would ask for 20 bucks here and there. I would never repay it, and soon after a while, they wised up and say, hey, D, man, I loaned you 20 bucks before. Where's that at? And why the hell are you asking me again? Because I'm not going to give you any more money. So when those wells ran dry, I just went to another person and I said, oh man, my wife took all the money out of the bank and I need some, just a little bit to get me by. Can I get like $40? And of course they would say yes. The first or second time, no more after that though. And if you are borrowing money or stealing money in order to get drunk or having to scrounge up those pennies you found in the seat cushion, you might drink too much. Number 7. This is a big one because in number 7, you buy shot bottles at the market or at the liquor store or at the shop at, as we say in the military, and you drink them before you get home just to take the edge off. You have 2 or 3 and you feel a little bit gooder. Now you're committing a DUI, and in active alcoholism, I can relate. We just needed to stop the shakes that are about to happen and stop the sweats that are about to happen and curb the anxiety that we have at the moment. And we drink them, we get rid of the bottles so nobody else would find them, and we hope that things will go well. If you are buying shot bottles at your local liquor store and you're drinking them on the way home, or you're drinking them before you get to work or at lunch, you might drink too much. Number 8, when you can't deal with life, when you can't face the daily life and the things that it brings and the stress that is going to happen that you're seeing in the future, and you got to get drunk in order to deal with that, you might be drinking too much. If you know that things are coming up in your life and you're going to have a long day ahead of you and you get drunk, that's a good indicator that you drink too much. If you have an argument with your spouse or with your significant other or with your dog or cat or whatever, and you drink over it, you might drink too much. If this is you, folks, this is no judgment. This is just a wake-up call. Put your comments below so someone else can get some of that. Number 9, someone confronts you about your drinking and you automatically assume a defensive posture and you defend it with everything in your life to say that you don't have a problem, that they are the problem, that the things they do are the reason you drink. You might drink too much. Think about that one, because that's a big one with a lot of us, and especially it was for me. When my wife came at me about drinking too much, I told her she was insane, and I told her that I was entitled to have a drink and that men drink, and that's what we do in order to curb our stress. Back to number 8. And she had no business telling me how I can drink because I make the money. So I defend it and I belittle her at the same time in order for me to be able to continue drinking and to feel better about myself and to think that I don't have a problem. If that is you, folks, you might be drinking too much. Number 10, you choose alcohol over everything and anything. Well, I am guilty of this. I chose alcohol over every single thing in my life. I chose it over my career. I chose it over my family. I chose it over my son. I chose it over progress. I chose it over cars. I chose alcohol over every single thing in my life. Why? Because I'm an alcoholic. And that's what happens in alcoholism once it affects your brain to such a point, and now you're hardwired to think that alcohol is your surviving mechanism. You're going to choose alcohol over everything, and you will go to any lengths to get drunk. Now, with these in mind, folks, and maybe you have some insight too, you may drink too much. What can you do about it? Well, for me, I went to Alcoholics Anonymous and I went to rehab, and I found that I have many coping skills to deal with life as it comes, so I can eliminate 70% of my list, as well as I communicate with my wife and I communicate with my son and I communicate with people around the globe to share my message about what I went through in order to not only get sober, but to stay sober and to live in recovery. If this video has been any help for you, and or you have any comments, please drop them below, give a like, consider subscribing, and if you do subscribe, folks, and I hate saying this, but it helps, hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I post another video. All my friends out there who I've dealt with on this channel, I have not forgotten about you, and I hope that you are doing well. Please hit me up at any time if you need anything from me. Life is a garden, folks. Dig it. And guess what? I'm going to see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.